No, it's 1 o'clock, dude. I did. Selena Bina. Oh, this bed is nice, dude. Will you trade us? Dude, I have a bad back.
You don't sleep in your bed.
That's because what? Selena, it's 1 o'clock. Get up now. You have 5 seconds to get up, else you're grounded from your phone. One, two. What time you go to bed?
5:30.
Well, that's your fault. Get up. It's 1 o'clock.
What is this?
The entity lives. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
What was that? Hades? Hey! Mysterious stranger, did you see that? No answer, huh? Figures. Things just keep getting stranger. I need to find a way inside the tower. Looks tight, but we can...
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you're the number 2 overall pick and you see a quarterback there that you think can turn into something for you, even if it's not necessarily for this season, if you see a
Hold for identiscan.
QB1 that can get you to the promised land, you have to pull the trigger on him at number 2. You don't hope to be drafting that high again anytime soon. They're going to try to get to winning in 2025. If that turns out to be the case, then you're going to want to take that quarterback.
Genetic profile confirmed. Entry authorized. Greetings, Dr. Sobek. Please step inside.
What you think about them, what you like about them, and there could be a sleeper quarterback. Maybe the Browns like and other people aren't necessarily viewing as one of the top 2 right now. I don't know if that's the case, but I've found over the years that we don't really know what the NFL thinks of these quarterbacks until the NFL personnel guys and coaches get involved in the evaluation process. And that really starts being honest at the senior level in a couple of weeks. So I think we need to wait and sort of see who starts to rise to the top and what everyone is thinking about some of these guys.
350,000. That's hundreds of years ago. What's going on?
But speaking of people that's on the team right now, Myles Garrett and Joe Bitonio, you got any indications on what the future holds with them? Are they going to be with the Browns? Are they going to retire? Trade? It's going to be an extension. You know, have you dug into those things with Myles? And obviously Wade and
The protocols use polyphasic entangled waveforms, quantum encryption, black quartz stuff, way beyond military grade. That's what you demanded, so that's what we delivered.
You don't code something you can't crack. All we need is a backdoor. Upload the latest service pack update and the problem goes away.
You specifically forbade us from leaving anything resembling a backdoor in code. Every protocol to Black Quartz standard. Your words. Look, if you need me to fudge some projections, it's nothing we haven't done before.
I don't need fudged projections. I need a way to reassert control over the Hearts Timor swarm.
He
I
is
don't know what to tell you, Ted.
the 5th highest paid edge
You're
rusher
asking the
for $5
impossible.
million. I'm sure he
So codes.
says over and over and
They
over
need
again that he's the
codes of
best
some
in the
kind to
NFL.
control
They
the
say
machines.
he's the best in the NFL.
But they got
If
out
that's
of
the
control.
case, then why is he
Sounds
so
bad.
far below Nick Bosa, who is now averaging $34 million a year? So he's going to want the pot sweetened, and yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. As far as Joel is concerned, I sort of feel like he's going to come back. I don't know for sure. I don't have any inside intel on that, but it's the last year of his contract coming up, and he played at a very, very high level this year, and I think that's meaningful. So if those guys try to talk him into coming back and he sees that there's going to be some good quarterback play, that they're going to run the football, which they have to, then I think there's a good chance he can come back too.
Okay, going back to Deshaun Watson for a second, obviously it was clear. I mean, and towards the end of the press conference, you set Mary up to like
Or a
fight
statue
for
of one anyway.
Deshaun Watson a little bit.
A
You're like, if he's
machine,
healthy, you
not
know,
to kill.
he's still playing at elite
And
level,
they
his only
honored
answer
Welcome to Faro Automated Solutions, where all the problems of tomorrow are being solved today. With over 25,000 human employees based in nations and corporate holdings across the globe, Faro leads the world in every sector of self-sustaining, fully automated technology. From revolutionary consumer products close to home, like the Faro Focus,
What was this place? What were they doing here?
It was a corporation. A group of people not unlike a tribe. And they made machines.
Yeah, go on.
I've uploaded some data files to your Focus.
But I think the Browns
They'll help you understand.
weren't really planning on him necessarily being their starting quarterback from the jump. If anything, maybe he would have ended up as the number 2 next season. So now those plans have kind of changed. But I do think that if you're feeling something isn't right with your ruptured Achilles, that screams to me another procedure. Not sure it's going to happen.
Now, I know this must seem like a bizarre change in direction. I mean, we're Faro Automated Solutions, right? #1 robotics firm in the world. Why would we clear our production slate to fabricate human-operated vehicles and weapon systems, the relics of the past? All I can say at this juncture is, trust me, we will be exploiting a massive, growth opportunity by retooling and reallocating capacity according to my plan. So I will need revised projections of mass fabrication velocity across every pipeline within 36 hours.
So they were making machines, then they stopped to make other kinds of weapons. Why?
Playing just for his health and his life as a human being. This sucks from a football and a person standpoint.
It really, yes, it really does. First and foremost, everyone is hoping the best from a health standpoint for JOK, and it's so unfortunate
Yeah,
that this
this is
happened
useful.
and that he's still having to work through whether or not he is going to be able to come back and play football. He obviously wants to. He's going around to different doctors trying to get answers, so he hopes to come back and play. But anytime we've asked the Cleveland Browns about that, all we've gotten is, we're hopeful. We are hopeful, or we're hoping for it. So, you know, that's a whole lot different than saying we're confident, we're optimistic.
Right.
Their football means there is a chance, and we can say it. We can say, no one knows if JOK is going to be able to make it back onto the football field after this very,
Another
very
cave-in.
scary neck injury.
But I could
Again,
get through.
the Browns are all hopeful. I know that he's hopeful, and all of Browns fans are too. So hopefully he can. But for right now, no one knows the answer to that.
Mary Kay, we know the Browns are in the Do you have a sense of what qualities Kevin Stefanski may be looking for in this next hire? Does it have to be someone he's worked with before? Does it have to be someone who has play calling experience? Is that all up in the air? What sense do you get in terms of what Kevin's looking for in terms of making
Looks
this
like I
hire?
can climb here.
Whoever can come in and help him run an explosive offense, that is what he's looking for. They have to be able to, obviously, score some points. That's what they really, really need right now. So that's what he's got to look for. Anything else, there are no hard and fast rules on what he's looking for. It doesn't have to be somebody he's worked with. It doesn't have to be somebody with OC experience or play calling experience. It has to be a bright offensive mind who can get the most out of their next quarterback and this whole entire offense. What I think they need is alignment on the offensive side of the ball. Everyone has to be working in concert, and no one really was this year. No one was on the same page with what they were trying to do, and it just was a dysfunctional mess. And that's so sad. It really is, because they had some talent on this football team, and they just weren't able to maximize any of it. So, except for maybe Jerry Jeudy, and you can honestly say that Jerry Jeudy had a great season, and the team there was off to a really good start before he missed the final 6 games of the season with a concussion, which is another concern on this football team right now. But I think really just looking for a really bright mind. You have to find one of those next Kevin O'Connell
to get back up.
or someone in that Sean McVay realm or family. Someone that is just a brilliant offensive mind, play caller perhaps, that can come in here and get the Browns on a points scoring track.
Speaking of play caller, if you had to bet right now, what's your best guess as to whether Kevin will go back to calling plays or not? Or does it depend on who he hires?
It totally depends on who he hires. If he hires someone that has play calling experience and ability, he will willingly turn that over, just like he did mid-season to Ken Dorsey. So I don't think that's an issue for him at all. I think he will absolutely be willing to do that for the right person. So he'll keep it himself or take it back himself if that's what's best for the football team. But if he finds someone who, and a lot of times you have to give play calling to the coordinator or they're not going to come here. The best and brightest coordinators in the NFL are probably going to require some form of play calling, whether it's a collaboration or whether they're doing it outright from the jump. But you're not going to get somebody that's absolutely amazing and not at least consider giving them that short.
Mary Kay, and you hear the way Echeverry talked about it. He said, we get it. It wasn't good enough. This was a bad season by so many different metrics. You feel like they're gonna have a renewed sense of, not to say that they were asleep at the wheel or anything, but you think they'll have a renewed sense of urgency about the results, the wins, the losses, some of the different things, because next year you look at it, I would assume that most people that watch the Browns believe that they're already starting off at an 8 or a 9 when it comes to the hot seat leader, given the fact that they won 3 games this year. You think that they'll have a newly just newfound sense of urgency about getting things taken care of and winning games?
Yes, and I think what happened last year is that they got a little bit too complacent with their record, with their number 1 defense. They ran it back in some areas where they didn't need to do that, where they needed to add, and that they needed to continue to be very aggressive with player acquisition in certain spots. I thought they needed a surefire double-digit sacker to go with Myles Garrett in 2024. I thought, okay, Jerry Jeudy's a nice start, but you need to add another Pro Bowl caliber receiver. You can never have too many. I thought that they put too many eggs in Nick Chubb basket, and thinking that Nick Chubb could come back and be your workhorse based on everything that he went through. Then you look at the offensive tackles. I think they overestimated the ability of Jack Conklin, Jed Wills, and DeJuan Jones to come back from their knee injuries. So I think there were some mistakes that were made in terms of the personnel decisions in the offseason, and they have to be very careful going forward that they don't make those same mistakes and sit back and watch things happen. If you see that, hey, maybe we really ought to do this. I mean, they have to be willing to listen and have to speak up.
Hey, I want to ask you about Andy Dickerson. Obviously, they hired him last year as the offensive line coach. Then I read that Mike Vrabel was down there being like the offensive line coach. So my question is, what did Andy Dickerson do this year?
Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, in the beginning of the season, and it was a challenge in the beginning of the season because he didn't have those tackles, and he was playing with the 4th and 5th offensive tackles. So it was a tough gig right from the start, trying to replace and fill those shoes of Bill Callahan. But in the beginning, Mike Vrabel was working with the tight ends a lot. And then it became apparent that he was needed more with the offensive linemen. And it did seem odd that you looked in the very early part of practice, and it was like Andy Dickerson was off to the side, and Roy Ifstan and Mike Vrabel were very, very hands-on in the coaching in the early part when we were able to watch practice. So Andy was there, he was involved, he was also coaching, but you saw Mike get more involved with those guys like he had been earlier.
The FSB-5 Kopesh
I wouldn't necessarily characterize it that he was
provides a
100%
one-size-fits-all
coaching
solution to main battle force capability. Metamaterial construction delivers unmatched recoil dampening.
Sort of a team effort at that point, or O-line by committee.
Nicely said. Yeah. Last thing, Mary Kay, Dick Chubb.
The BOR-7 Horus.
Dick Chubb in the very press conference, but unlike Myles Garrett, I know Myles still has a contract where he said, hey, for Myles, it's going to be Cleveland and Jacksonville. With Dick Chubb,
The ACA-3 Scarab combines conventional and information warfare capabilities in one package.
Well, I think we could
Designed for
always outweigh
high-speed,
the
all-terrain
Nick Chubb
reconnaissance,
we all remembered.
it boasts the world's highest...
That it was just because it was his first year back. But he's also getting older. Running backs start to slow down a little bit. There's a lot of wear and tear on their bodies. So you never know. A lot of times the second year back from a major surgery like that is your better season than the first one back. But you don't know if it's going to be like that with Nick Chubb because he's going to be then, of course, another year older. But we'll have to see how it goes. It sounds to me right now as though he were almost saying it's over, it's pretty much over, it's done. The only way he would come back now at this point would be sort of on a veteran, more type minimum type contract or a very incentive-laden contract where he could try to make up some of the kind of money that he believes that he's worth, or maybe
So
he'll go
people are
somewhere
angry at
else
Faro.
and see if he can
The
give
corporation
someone
looks
else
like the
another
way
good
up.
year or two. So
What's left of
it
it.
opens the door for Nick Chubb no longer being.
Thanks, Mary Kay. As always, great season. We appreciate you taking the time. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me. I'll try to get the Christmas tree down by next year.
Thanks, Mary Kay.
It's gonna be a long way up.
Mary Kay with us. Not a great
Frozen metal most of the way.
Hey,
Not
there
making
is
this
one
easy,
thing I wanna
Dr.
get out real
Silverk.
quick, Mike.
If plants can find a way to hang on up here,
Yeah, we're
Yes, I can
approaching
too.
50,000 subscribers, about 500 away, so help us get there. I want to bring up one other thing that will piss people off, but it's not new for me. And I just want to say, as we start the process of discussing the quarterback, keep in mind that most of us, I'm talking about 99%, including members of the media, and 100% including myself, don't know enough to give you a great answer about how good Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward is going to be in the NFL. Let's face it, the NFL GMs screw it up half the time. Okay, so factor that in. Now, something else you have to factor in, and I know some people are not going to want to hear this, but this is just a reality of the world we live in. I'm not saying everybody's crazy.
Frost catching in my
The
throat.
fact that all these guys are black is going to factor in because there is, within the league, when it comes to quarterbacks, obviously things have changed over the years to some degree, but there is still a measure of, especially among older members of the NFL front offices, the old guys, there is, whether it's flat-out racism or probably in a lot of cases...
Racists that began when they engaged in unauthorized offensive operations against robots and human personnel of the Hearts Team or Energy.
Peacekeepers. That's what they called their machines. They were built for war, not peace.
If you go back and listen to analysis of certain quarterbacks, the words people use, some analysts talk about black quarterbacks and white quarterbacks is noticeably different. Now, if you don't like to hear these things, and you want to pretend these things don't exist, then you can ignore them and pretend it's not true, and give me examples where it's not the case. Again, I want to make it very clear. I'm not saying everybody can get it all. I don't think that's the case at all. I'm just saying if that's the case. So when you're hearing, you know, maybe flat for a cow or stuff like that, especially when it comes to Shedeur Sanders, because that is beyond. Just keep that in mind when you're thinking about it, because ultimately, like, I don't know, like, my first reaction is fine. This guy's not good. And the truth is, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about it. More now, is there information around? Yeah, certainly, but none of us know for sure. But I just think that it was a particularly standout when it came to Lamar Jackson. You all know what's his name? Said. I can't remember his name. It's like, oh, this guy's a wide receiver. That's just no Polian. And I know that was a few years ago now, but that thought still lingers in the NFL in some cases. And there are still people that are like, yeah, Lamar Jackson's great, but, there's no more but for Lamar Jackson. Yes, he's got something to prove in the postseason. So does Josh Allen. Neither of them has gotten to the Super Bowl. And so they both have something to prove. But we know he's a great quarterback. There's no debating that at this point. And I'm not saying at all that Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are Lamar Jackson. Neither one of them plays like him. Neither one's as good as him. And that wasn't my point. My point is that this attitude or this thought still exists. I'm not even saying Bill Polian is necessarily racist. Maybe he isn't. But this thought still persists to some degree through the NFL. It works in reverse a little bit too when it comes to a white corner or a white running back. And those guys are downgraded a little bit. I think that's true too. So that's part of the analysis. Scatterboo was I think he's a dog. Scatterboo was, I don't know, he was built like Marshawn Lynch. He looked like Marshawn Lynch. Scatterboo people would be like, oh my goodness, this guy, I love this guy. No, here's the thing I think what's going to happen is with the quarterbacks is you gotta look at it as well. Talk about the play style. There's a lot of people that won't want Cam Ward, that won't want Shedeur Sanders. Their play style reminds them of Deshaun Watson. And because
Hurry up.
there's a little flash.
All it takes is a few good handholds.
Flash in there, you're like,
All right, made it.
Like,
Wonder what we'll find.
pride. There's a lot of things. And then plus, there's a lot of things that there's a lot of things that is polarizing with pride to start with anyway. So there's some extra stuff in there. But, I do think that there's also sorts of different types of perceptions when it comes to quarterbacks. Because, to be honest with you, the quarterback represents, when they say basic franchise, they don't mean they're not lying. That represents everybody. So some people are uncomfortable with that they're not represented in all aspects of life.
Found the power cell. If I find more, I should be able to get to that Asian armor I found.
They don't see eye to eye with you. They represent the base brand. There's just going to be some disconnect. I think that would be I don't like Baker. I don't like Deshaun. I like Deshaun. So I think that's definitely a role. Listen, when it comes to the draft and quarterback, I think that the most important thing is do they fit what you want. Obviously, when you look at the two top quarterbacks in this draft, he's right. You're coming from a spread style. Most quarterbacks hold the ball for a long period of time. I think that how they're going to be judged is, can I coach this kid out of that? Can I get this kid to be under center and get the ball out of his hands?
All data has been erased from this device. Do you wish to deploy alpha privileges to recover purged data?
Oh yes, I believe I do.
A file has been recovered.
But the fact that they would give up the short thing and try to get the bigger thing. So they are improvised to get the bigger play down the field. And obviously you see
Elizabeth, good to, it's been years.
Where's your legal team, Ted?
No need. I dropped all 18 lawsuits the moment you landed. I assume your daddy confirms this.
Same thing is going to happen with these two.
All right, this promises to be interesting.
Perhaps we could have lunch brought in. Get reacquainted.
I know you, Ted. You've screwed something up, something big, or you wouldn't have eaten the crow necessary to get me
Forget
here.
about traveling light.
So spit it out.
There's a glitch in the chariot line.
You're killer robots?
Peacekeepers, yes, those.
So shut them down.
Obviously, Liz, we would, if we could. They're not responding.
Are you telling me a swarm has gone rogue, Ted?
It's worse than that.
Show me the data then. And I'll take that lunch. Alone.
Last thing, real quick.
Ted Faro brought Elizabeth Sobek here, but they hated each other.
Another file has been recovered.
Well, everybody's like, he plays, he's not in rhythm. He doesn't play rhythm. Well, when you're offensive line stage, it's hard to play it. All right, that won't be the last conversation we'll have about that.
Isn't a glitch. It's a catastrophe.
fully aware.
The opponents the Browns have played.
It's bad.
We don't know the order
Bad?
of the
Jesus,
schedule, but the
Les.
opponents
It's
have
not
been
bad,
set by
Ted.
final
It's
standings.
apocalyptic.
So let's go through the
You
home
built a
games.
line of killer robots
Peacekeepers.
that consume biomass as fuel,
In emergencies,
and you made them capable of self-replication.
limited, self-manufacture, controlled.
Not anymore. The glitch severed chain of command. The only nation this swarm answers to now is itself.
You think I did?
Everything else is just food. And at the rate it's replicating, Ted, it will strip the Earth bare in 15 months.
And the Bears.
We're not talking fall of civilization. We're talking extinction.
I get it, Liz. So how do I stop it while it's contained?
It's not contained. It can't be.
You know what I mean?
Right. Before the truth gets out, you mean?
Liz, I will do anything you say. Keep working it, and whatever you recommend, I'll do.
I'm gonna hold you to that, Ted.
Bring up that home schedule again, Mike. This home schedule on paper, and again, who knows? Man, that whole schedule, that is brutal.
The Faro robots threatened all life on Earth.
There are 3 games.
But somehow she defeated them. The world of the old ones fell, but life went on, or we wouldn't be here.
So, you know what I think about
A final Pharaoh has
still
been
will be a whole lot better next year. You know what I think about
Project Zero Dawn.
remember last
Jesus, Liz.
when they
There
was
has to
at
be
home
another way.
playing-
If there were a nicer way to fix your mess, I would have proposed it.
But this? This?
That's not the case here. They flipped
When I
it.
asked you to find a cure, I didn't expect it to be worse than the disease.
We don't
It's
know
not,
who the
Ted.
Browns are. Was
It may be
last- are they
grim,
closer
but
to
it's our
last
only
year?
chance.
Are they closer
Now
to-
sign the proposal.
Yeah. And next year with this
Sign it? I
program,
can't sign that.
that's coming in here,
Yes, you can.
it will be to Jim Schwartz.
That? Liz, I cannot in good conscience sign that.
Hey,
You've got a choice, Ted.
big league.
I know.
Better have them boys
I'm
ready.
speaking to you from a VTOL en route to U.S. Robot Command.
And I like what Mary Kay kind of said, bro. They kind of.
In 15 minutes, I meet with General Harris and the rest of the Joint Chiefs.
What? Are you crazy?
Now your choice is what I tell them. Sign, and I'll tell them the wealthiest corporation on Earth has guaranteed the funds necessary to build Zero Dawn. Exactly as I've designed it. Or don't sign, and I will make sure they and everyone else on this planet knows the real cause of the glitch.
That's mental right there.
Jesus, Liz.
Like, I'm like,
You don't have to threaten me. I'll sign.
Look on the bright side, Ted. From here on out, you get to do what you've always been good at. Footing the bill while others get their hands dirty.
I think they get the advantage. They got the advantage. AFC South.
God forgive me.
Browns play the Titans. To me, that's a wash. Yeah. Now, the one where the Browns get the advantage, but you're supposed to get 3 advantages. Right. I think the Browns only got 1.
What made her solution so terrible? What did she do to stop the robots?
But that's it.
Executive access detected. Express lift opened.
This doesn't add up. Sobek couldn't have been my mother. She lived ages ago. All this searching, and I'm still no closer.
That's your reaction to everything you've just learned? To whine like a spoiled child?
You should really try talking that way to me face to face.
As you wish. Do you really have no idea how monumental are the discoveries you just made, Aloy? I expected more of you.
So, you have a face. Got a name to go with it?
Of all the questions you could ask right now, that's the one you choose. I've spent decades searching the ruins of the old ones, trying to solve the mystery of what happened to them. For years, I've suspected that Faro robots destroyed their civilization, but I could never confirm it. And in minutes, you uncover more ancient knowledge than I have in a lifetime. And what you want to know is my name. Silence. That's my name. Now, why don't you try asking another question? Something less trivial.
We have a Didi. Let's bring a Didi into the mix after. Rocket Money ever helped you find subscriptions you forgot about?
All right, silence. You've made your point. I came to these ruins hoping to learn more about this Elizabeth
How does
Sobek.
she have your card number?
And I have, but I still don't understand my connection to her. Or why the Eclipse is trying to kill me. Or who Hades is.
That goes
No
to
answers,
Arkansas.
just one question after another.
Exactly. Which is why it's time to expand your frame of inquiry. Only then will you see just how big your problems really are.
What exactly are you talking about?
You've chased a personal riddle into a crowd of larger mysteries. The common thread is your connection to Elizabeth Sobek.
But what is that connection? She couldn't have been my mother if she lived centuries ago.
We don't know the connection yet. The only way to find out is to keep going, to keep making discoveries. Thanks to you, we've only just now learned that Pharaoh robots once threatened to end life on Earth.
But it didn't happen. The Old One's civilization was destroyed, but life was saved.
Obviously. So, what did Elizabeth do? How did
Yes,
she
we
stop
did.
the robots before all was lost?
I don't know. I gave them
What
to you.
was Project Zero Dawn?
Exactly the
Look
question.
up here. Did you look up here?
Now, are you ready to go get the answer?
Of course I am.
Then why are you still standing here?
Not so fast, Silence.
Ugh.
You've got some explaining to do.
I've told you quite enough. If you still got questions, be quick about it and stop wasting my time.
So far as I can tell, the Eclipse are just following orders. It's Hades who wants me dead. Who is he?
I don't know. The Eclipse describe him as a buried shadow, some kind of devil.
That thing that spoke to me outside. That made that focus explode. That was Hades. It didn't seem like a person or a machine. More like a phantom. With a terrible voice.
All that's certain is that he wants you dead.
Because of my connection to Elizabeth. Has to be.
Hades is using the Eclipse to resurrect Pharaoh robots.
But if Elizabeth found a way to stop them centuries ago, if she made special weapons, maybe Hades is worried I'll do the same thing.
In some of the ancient data I've recovered, there are hints of so-called super weapons being developed. Maybe to stop the robots, the civilization of the old ones had to destroy itself. Now, if that's enough talking, be on your way.
Oh no, I'm just getting started. You've been getting a free ride on my focus, risking nothing while I risk everything. All I have to do is take this thing off my head, and you'll be blind, deaf, and dumb. So quit complaining and answer my questions.
Very well. Proceed.
You said you've known for some time that Pharaoh war machines destroyed the civilization of the Old Ones.
The evidence pointed that way. But until now, I never knew the full scope of their danger. That they could process organic matter into fuel, or that the Horus class could manufacture more robots. Like a cauldron on legs.
But the robots we've seen so far, the Corruptors and Deathbringers, they don't do those things.
Not yet, anyway. So far, we haven't encountered any that are undamaged. At full power, who knows what they're capable of?
Who are you, Silence? And what are your intentions?
You really need to make this personal. I'm a lone wanderer who left his tribe behind a long time ago. An explorer of forbidden places, a searcher of lost knowledge. Exactly as I said.
Why do you know so much about the Eclipse?
I happen to know a lot about a lot of things. If what you're really asking is whether I work for the Eclipse or anyone else, I don't. I am nothing if not independent.
All taken out of the plastic little bag.
You've been using my focus to spy on me. How's
Nobody
that
was
possible?
here.
Every focus emits a signal, a
I
voice
sure the hell
that
didn't.
only other focuses can hear.
Hey, you do stuff while you're
I
sleeping
know
and
how to
don't
string
know
those
it.
voices together, how to make them talk to each other, to
Yeah,
communicate,
I'm just
even over
saying.
vast distances.
How do you learn to do that?
Years of study and experimentation. In principle, it's not so different from how you override machines. I
No, it's not
override
when you
focuses.
get up and don't know what
And
you're
you can
doing.
spy through other
When you
Eclipse's
take it
focuses
down.
too.
Usually. All I'll say is that
When you say
overriding the
that,
connections
yeah.
is
I don't want to fucking argue today.
Is
Okay,
there
but
any chance
you
that
have down
Elizabeth
there, so
Sobek could still be alive somehow?
you
it's
have
highly
down there.
unlikely. But
You just said you did.
some of the ancient data I've recovered includes mentions of life extension techniques. Pharmaceuticals mostly, an ancient word for medicine. But some were still trying to perfect ways of freezing and unfreezing people.
Freezing and unfreezing people?
Nobody was here though.
But there were problems with it. Given
What, one of
Eli's
your kids?
technological acumen,
Okay, nobody
I
else
can't
was here
definitively rule out
besides
that
the
she
kids
found a
and your
way to
mom.
make herself immortal.
Sorry, yesterday was very crazy for me on the
Because if I would have went in your
Elizabeth
purse and
told
seen them, I'd have took
Faro
them all
she
and
was
flushed them
headed
in
for
the
a place
toilet.
called U.S. Robot Command to tell people
Right.
about Zero Dawn.
The place still exists as a ruin. The Asaram call it the Grave Horde.
Grave Horde? Cheery name.
You'll find it in the eastern mountains, buried under the tangled coils of a metal devil, or a BOR-7 Horus, rather, as we're learning to call them. I'll contact you when you get there.
Do what?
I can't wait. Someday we'll meet in person,
Okay,
and
we're
your
not gonna,
manners had better
I'm not
be
gonna go through this with you. Yeah, I know.
Well, getting down will be a lot faster than getting up there, at least. U.S. Robot
You
Command
just
next.
said you had them. I ain't
To
accusing
learn
you
the
of shit.
secrets of Zero Dawn.
That'll just be a matter of time. Nothing.
You need that evidence that, hey, the other way doesn't work. And so hopefully there's that, but of course there's still this big albatross of the quarterback question.
Okay.
Or elephant, or what's the right metaphor time? An elephant in the room, the albatross, whatever you say. $64 million question.
I think it's I just call it a question. Let me ask you about the defense, more particularly the defensive star, Myles Garrett. Do you believe that he will sign an extension? Myles is one of them guys that he leads you to believe certain things. Do you think Myles is signing an extension, or do you think Myles is demanding a trade? Did you see his post-game quote?
I did, and I feel I don't have solid information on this, so this is not something I've talked about with Myles, but this is just my feeling, my sense. My sense is that he's turning the fire up on the team and saying, give me some answers, or I want out. And here's why I think that that's fair. I need a vote, as you know, for all of the NFL awards, the All-Pro, and all of that. Myles Garrett, for every single offensive coach that I've spoken to this year, and every single personnel person I've spoken to, Myles Garrett is the toughest player to go up against. He is the one that can wreck the game unlike anybody else. He demands more attention. He has more moves and ways to win. He is a freak. He will not be the defensive player of the year this year because he is on a 3-win team. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Okay? He has more answers than TJ Watt does. He has more natural ability than Trey Hendrickson does. He is simply better than Andrew Van Ginkel or Nick Bonito. He maybe doesn't force the fumbles that TJ Watt does. He's maybe not the leader that TJ Watt is, but as a pure edge rusher, the way that he can wreck a game, the way that he makes offensive coordinators constantly think about him is unlike anybody else.
Look out below!
He will not
They're
be
inside too.
Gonna be Hendrickson?
Because he's on a 3-win team. He's on a 3-win team.
No.
And if all he cares about is his on the team, writing things for the rest of the team that have never been done, then it matters to kind of I don't know.
That does it.
You know, like
Time to take a look around the room.
Yeah, but I don't know that feel him in a game the way that you feel TJ Watt or Myles Garrett or even Pat Surtain. You know,
TJ Watt. To be fair, Myles Garrett is the best player. I'm not arguing about that Hendrickson's better than Myles Garrett. Obviously, Myles Garrett's better. But in terms
Watt's got tons of talent around him on that D-line. Trey Hendrickson has a bunch of zeros.
That's nothing.
Nothing.
Correct. No, you are 100% correct. And this is sort of, if you sit here and you say Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is doing more with less,
right.
Which, you know, the Bills would argue. The Bills like their tight ends, even if they don't necessarily have the same name recognition. They like that wide receiver a lot, even if they're not wide receivers. But anyway, if you say Josh is doing more with less than Lamar, then why can't you say Miles and Trey are doing more with less than TJ, who has him favored and outside? But, you know, it's funny because it's kind of, I think we already talked about the whole Patrick campaign. If the quarterback read the game the same way that a pass rusher gets to rush the passer on every snap does. But, you know, I'll say that I talked to 2 different general managers this weekend who have outstanding teams, who are going to the playoffs, who respect enormously. And both said there is a ton of value to shutting down half the field. And that makes the rush that much better. And yeah, he has only 4 interceptions, but no opportunity. You know, like, this is a guy that has so many opportunities. So, I mean, again, it's the age-old question: is much of it in this year and what's happening? I don't think that Josh Allen is such a sort of teetering MVP candidate if Lamar Jackson isn't having such a monster year. I don't know that there's so much Pat Surtain hype if all these other pass rushers have these other sort of detractions or negatives to them. Miles being on a crappy team, Trey Hendrickson not necessarily being all that flashy or naturally talented, TJ playing with such other stars and ultimately being sort of quiet the last 3 weeks of the season. I mean, the Steelers needed to end that slide against the Bengals. They're playing at home. TJ Watt is playing against a guy that hasn't played right tackle in years. And then a rookie with a broken hand, and he has 0 tackles and 0 sacks. And I know that on almost every snap he has 4 hands on him, but isn't that the life of an edge rusher? I mean, ask Max Crosby how many times he's one-on-one with somebody. Ask Myles Garrett how many times he's one-on-one with somebody. So, I mean, it's so complicated. It's such an eye in the beholder thing, and when it comes to yearly awards, it's not who would I start my team with if there was an expansion draft. It's who's had the most productive
Operation
year.
Enduring
You know, it's
Victory.
kind of like defensive tackle.
What did that mean?
Jones over Cam
Whatever it
Hayward.
was, doesn't seem to have turned out very well.
Cam Hayward has had. And in general, you think Chris Jones over Zach Allen, but look at the year that Zach Allen has had. You know,
Titan inbound, same play as Akron. Base defense locks it down. We engage, sever the limbs, blast out the penalties.
Another day in the life. Record time, really close. Attention might be on point. Hoorah!
Battle.
Looks like quite an enduring victory we put our foot in today.
Contact in 30 seconds.
Hey, I think that's enough time for Sobek to finish Zero Dawn.
If this is really it, I gotta say, it's been an honor to serve beside these tanks.
Here it comes.
Brace for contact!
Are you getting this, Silence? Silence? Must have been where the soldiers slept. Like the lodge in Mother's Heart, I guess.
Log. First battle of the Eastern Seaboard Wall. Had a long run up to it. This was before Kalmar, and projections were a lot worse for the East. For 3 weeks, we kept getting scrambled out to some coastal burg to train Minutemen. It was always raining on account of Europe already being torched. Block after block of prefab barracks. They were still printing barracks right up until the hour the main force hit. The Minutemen? We ran combat drills with them in the streets where they'd lived, trying to pretend they might live to die somewhere else if they paid attention. Nothing worse than the ones who actually bought into
Where's
it.
the metal world?
Hopeful, pestering us with questions about Zero Dawn like we know something they don't. I swear.
The more we do this,
Just one
the
bed.
more like the bots we are.
Maybe their war chief's room.
Except they learn from every fight. And us?
They want to run his system.
I'm not so sure.
Play caller. Obviously, there's guys in the locker room that want to run that fancy stuff. Again, does it limit the opportunity for up-and-coming rookies
No.
Is that something that...
Look at all of those guys. Look at all of those guys and have become head coaches. Zach Taylor is one. Kevin O'Connell, who will likely be coach of the year, he's another one. Kevin O'Connell
Useful
never called
information.
plays until he became a head coach. Mike McDaniel never called plays until he became a head coach. He was under Kyle Shanahan. I don't think that hampers anybody. That's true. Mike McDaniel never called a play until he became a head coach.
Hey, y'all wanted to know how I remember the geotherm system reboot? Goes like this. Bird flies north in summer, east in spring, west in fall, and south in winter. Didn't expect to hear nature poetry from the lips of Mike the GT Tech now, did you? As usual, I defy expectations.
You're asking a quarterback to come and be an offensive coordinator. That's what they're about. And you know what? Josh McCown has a history in Cleveland. He's very, very, very well thought by ownership in Cleveland. Josh McCown is one of the true good humans.
3 power lines,
I mean,
resources.
one of the good guys.
That makes 1.
He absolutely relates to players. He gives players the information straight. This is not a guy that is afraid in any way to sugarcoat anything, to hold anybody to account. He is very smart. He recognizes the value of the run game. I mean, I am very, very, very bullish on Josh McCown.
He was, and then he went to Minnesota.
He was, and he almost went to NFL after that.
Yeah, right.
He was almost like, I don't want to be any part of that.
Hey, y'all wanted to know how I remember the geotherm system reboot? Goes like this. Bird flies north in summer, east in spring, west in fall, and south in winter. Didn't expect to hear nature poetry from the lips of Mike the GT Tech now, did you? As usual, I defy expectations.
That's 2. 1 more.
But if they offer $5 more million, he think he'd be cool with that.
Probably.
He knows this fancy offense.
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to happen. But I also allow me, Mikey, to say I think that's one of the most unbelievably asinine stupid things. If there is one thing that we all know, nothing matters more to a young quarterback than
Sounds like that did it.
consistency and coaching and play calling. There is a reason that Peyton Manning had
These
exactly
wires
one
must run to the power source.
his entire time in Indianapolis. There is a reason that Bill Belichick demanded that even if the play callers change for Tom Brady, that the offense stays the same. You need that. What AVP did with Drake May, and I know I've said this before, but I'll say it again. That offensive line up in New England had maybe one player on it who started on any other team. There was not a single wide receiver who was better than a wide receiver 3 on any other team. There was no run game because of that offensive line. There was an decent tight end in Hunter Henry. Nothing else. And yet,
Tools being used.
Drake
Voices.
May
More clips.
proved it to work.
Must be another
Taught
way
him
in.
how to run play action. Taught him how to command a huddle. He taught him how to call
For what?
He taught him how to make handoffs.
4.
Every week, Drake May
It's
got
them, alright. They're not looking for answers. Just weapons.
You ask him to trace him out of his position, he's like, that young man is going to be that way. That is all entirely because of AVP. Look at what this kid
How?
Joe Milton. Up until this week, has never even had a snap in practice. He never even run the Patriots offense. He had only run the scout team offense. He goes out, he gets his first and I know it was against the Bills' second team. He looked confident. He commanded the huddle. He read the it's all over the No, I don't understand why New England the hiring of a new coach.
You're
The new coach aside,
run from right.
Yeah, I mean, it has some consistency. It's what they had to do for a while. They had to do for a while. They had to rebuild his confidence. But the only reason they had to rebuild his confidence is because of the abject mess of last year. Come on now.
Good job, Aditi. Great to have you as always. We'll talk to you. PS2 no matter what.
Got it. I hear ya. Don't know that I'll go that way, but I hear you. Hey, just really quickly, Will, text me and tell me what it is that I said. Now they then said.
Full already.
I'm gonna do that. I'll do that later today.
Alright, awesome.
See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Said she gonna put hands with him.
So we have kind of chicken guys right now. Apparently the oven upstairs is the slowest oven in the world.
Oh, the chicken ear?
It's heating it up.
Oh.
But the oven upstairs apparently is moving way slower than
Are we going upstairs?
No, they're gonna bring it down. So we're gonna have that either in the next 5 minutes or in overtime while you guys do.
Should I talk? You want me to talk about Brent Rooker right now?
No, we got 2 super chats.
Okay.
And then we can do a little Brent Rooker.
Yeah.
Just know if chicken comes in the middle of anything, chicken is catering lunch for everybody. Alright, 2 super chats. Chris Fox says the SGA Donovan Mitchell debate is dumb. SGA by far 50+ years.
Hey man, stop playing. That's ridiculous. I'm going that's all disrespectful, but I hear what you're saying. I'm on your side. I mean, I respect the SGA. I respect the SGA, but they like, you got right to say 3 plus. That's ridiculous. What does that mean? What is SGA basically saying like SGA light? It's not even close. What do you say, Mike?
Thanks for the mails, you. Time goes fast on active duty. 4 months with the wreck and recalls, fighting with these civilian enlistees, scrappy guys and gals, that's all coming together. Between us and the 6th MRB, we took down a horse. I hope we made the news, honey. Showed everyone we're turning this around. We just need to give Project Zero Dawn the time it needs.
Tomorrow night, there's going to be a lot of, not like pressure, like, oh my god, the stakes are so high.
What is this?
The way Oklahoma City
That?
a lot
It's a map.
A map of what?
Our world. The planet Earth, Aloy. It's not flat like you thought.
Why would I think that? During eclipses, the shadow cast on the moon is curved. So our world is a globe. And it looks like this, from a distance.
We'll discuss this another time. Back to the matter at hand.
The Faro robots were spreading across the world, eating everything up. Somehow, Elizabeth stopped them before it was too late. But how?
Donovan, put the ball in your hands. Yeah. Your playmaking is just as important as your scoring in that sense, but we need you to be more of an initiator than
The game might be out of hand by then. All right.
Alright, hey, if they smoke them, so you can come in with a few.
All I know is if they smoke them, they need to play. How about swerve in the corner? Whoa,
They played that.
I know they did. I said they is some savages, man.
Save these for the trail.
UCSS, the best in the game. G-Bush is in his bag. Tyvis is hilarious. Bull is all in, and Mikey is goated. I LOL my office too much. Thank you, fellas. Lee, we appreciate you.
We appreciate you, Helene. Yeah.
I just got a text from Ant, the mac and cheese, the last thing finishing up.
You don't know what song that
The eclipse. Tampering with the metal devil. Oh, they don't think they can wake it, do they?
Watch out! Sun and shadow.
Dad was such an ass.
Another Kovish. And this one can move.
I don't know why. The old smell of the old is good, right?
Oh, seriously.
Did it. So the soldiers let them go. They had to fight hundreds of those.